What's happening, guys? Welcome to Let's Talk Comics, and today we are going to talk about what my favorite books from last week were. I got all my books wrapped up reading, and I thought I would highlight some of the ones that were my favorite. And the first one that I'm going to mention is Superman Spider-Man. This was the DC part of the crossover. This one was one of my favorite books from last week. I enjoyed every story in it. The vibe, the camaraderie between Superman and Spider-Man, especially in the main story, I really dug that quite a bit. It was very... The thing I liked most about this is we did not have a ton of setup. We just went with the fact that these two exist in the same universe, and they're just, working a case together. They're even, at one point here, they're working not only a case together, being superheroes together, but they're also covering an event together. So you've got Clark here, and then you've got Pete here, Clark being the reporter, and Peter Parker in the Jimmy Olsen role as the photographer. But it was a very good one-shot. I enjoyed all the stories that they had. The artwork was phenomenal. Just highly recommend. There's a million covers out there. Grab yourself one and treat yourself to a very good, solid comic book with tons of fun, super heroic action in it. There was quite a bit of even the backstories. The backup stories, the side stories. I even enjoyed those quite a bit. So I would say Superman Spider-Man was definitely one of the better titles I read last week. One of the other ones I enjoyed quite a bit was Flash. This is the first issue of the Ryan North and Gavin Guidry story. Now, I'm a big fan of Ryan North. I love his Fantastic Four. I've been a fan of his FF book since it launched. And when I saw that he was coming on to Flash, I really was excited about that. Now, I am not the biggest fan of Wally West being married and a father to 2 kids. But, however, outside of that, actually, it's not even 2 kids. Now he has 3. He's got a baby right there. I don't even know where that baby came from. But outside of that, the thing that I enjoyed the most about this story was I like this plot point right here. This is how Ryan North launched this story. So we see that this woman here, she is falling off this building. Flash runs to save her. He saves her, and she says, "Hey, can we take a selfie?" And he kind of is like, "Oh, well, that's a little weird," or whatever. And then we get to see later on in the issue that it happens again. There's another person jumping off the top of this building. And then we find out why it is. We have this, kind of ad is saying, every 24 hours, we will award $10,000 to whoever uploads the best footage of themselves being saved by the Flash. So someone has launched a viral marketing ploy to throw themselves, to basically put people into harm, and they know that the Flash is going to save them. And so basically these people are making money off putting the Flash to work, saving these people. So the Flash says, "Hey, this stuff is crazy. It's dangerous. Why are you guys doing that? Stop doing this," or whatever. And this lady, she goes, Flash, does this mean you won't save people who jump off buildings anymore? He goes, no, but I mean, I'm going to save them. And she says, well, if you're going to save them, no matter what happens, what's going to stop people from doing that? And then you could see the wheels are turning. He's kind of like, oh, shit, what is going on? So we get this page here, which was, I really enjoy the layout of this page with all the lightning separating the scenes, people putting themselves in danger for the sake of going viral, so to speak. And each time one of these people gets saved, they get like $10,000 or whatever. So Flash is basically running all over town, saving these people. And then at the very end, he confronts this guy, the guy who's behind it or whatever. And he says, hey, I want you to shut this down, shut your website down. People are going to get hurt. And he's like, well, why are we doing this? He goes, well, I'm making money, and I haven't broken any laws. I haven't done anything wrong. So we see that this has really taken this idea of, people throwing themselves into danger for the Flash to save them to go viral has really gotten out of control. And of course, we see a little bit of mysterious guy right here. He's the one that told the guy to do it. So obviously that's going to be a little bit more. But I just think that it was a very cool concept by Ryan North that he's introduced with this story right here. Introduced the fact that a guy is making people go, he's giving them money to go viral. And the Flash is now kind of stuck in the middle. So I thought that was a really cool idea. Especially something that is kind of relevant. We see people doing all kinds of stupid stunts and stuff like that online to go viral or whatever, the stuff they risk. So I was really dug seeing that right here in the Flash book. Then one of the other books that I enjoyed, obviously, Absolute Wonder Woman. I love this book since the first issue that it launched. The artwork by Hayden Sherman is absolutely incredible. I love Hayden Sherman's panel layouts, the way that the pages are composed, the uniqueness that he has, that he breaks everything up. It just adds this kind of very mythic, classical mythic look to the book. Obviously the story that Kelly Thompson is telling is incredibly well told and well crafted as well. But, this book here, month in, month out, is one of my favorite reads. Then we had Punisher 2 by Benjamin Percy. This was another book I really enjoyed. I've said this before. I feel like Benjamin Percy was born to write the Punisher. He has that natural feel for the character. He really is able to portray that hard Frank Castle. He is, I can't think of anything else. I can't think of anybody else that I would like to see on the book other than Benjamin Percy. So Punisher was another one of my favorite books. And then one of the last books that I read this week that I really liked was Superboy Prime. I don't have any great loyalty to Superboy Prime. He's not a character that resonates very well with me. A lot of his previous appearances, he's kind of acted like a childish jerk. But since he showed up recently, he's been on a redemption arc. So I enjoy the storytelling in this book. I enjoyed Superboy Prime's fourth wall breaking, his meta commentary or whatever you want to call it. So that was all pretty cool stuff. I like the fact that he got a job working at a comic book shop. So that will be very interesting to see. He gets this job. He Let me see if I can find it here. It's always tough to find. I think it's in right here. He goes here to this comic book shop and he gets a job there because Lois said he needs to get a job to be amongst regular people. But like I said, I don't have any great loyalty or knowledge about Superboy Prime, but I do enjoy the idea that he is a character who is from a world that knows all there is to know about the DC universe, and he knows about it through comic books. So I think with that, we're going to get a lot of meta commentary, you know, those fourth wall breaks or whatever you want to call it. And also, obviously, this issue has really great Dan Moore artwork. Dan Moore, that is, I really love his Lois. He draws Lois really well. He puts her in these really nice looking outfits. So, you know, it's not just generic clothes. He gives her a little bit of style and a little bit of attitude with the kind of short hair right there. So he is, Dan Moore definitely, I would say he is, if he is not the top guy in the game right now, he is in the conversation. If he's not 1A, if he's not number one, he's 1A. I believe that's how they say it. But this is some more cool shots of Lois right here. But these were some of my favorite books from last week. Ones that I felt like kind of I wanted to talk about individually. So a couple reads really stood out. Hopefully you guys picked up some of these titles. And I would have to say that if you were going to pick out any book from last week to read to make sure you picked up, my number one favorite book would have been Superman and Spider-Man. This was definitely the best book I read out of everything last week if I had to rank it. And if I could only pick one, it would be this right here. Great storytelling throughout. And a lot of content. Even though it's an $8 comic book, you get a lot of bang for your buck. So these were some of my favorite books that stood out last week. Hopefully you guys got some cool stuff too. And until next time, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.